green asparagus cream soup with grilled almonds. The soup is very delicate. In French culinary art, we call the soup Crème Argenteuil. Anything called Argenteuil, or any dishes referred as Argenteuil, will be always cooked with asparagus. Is that easy? To make the soup, you will need chicken stock or vegetable stock, butter, sliced almonds, salt, freshly ground white peppercorn, diced potato, here I have 1 potato, cream, diced onion, here I have 1 onion, water, spinach washed, and green asparagus. The first step is to cut off the ends of the asparagus, but with our finger. So I hold the asparagus and break. And the asparagus woody part here will break at the natural breaking point. So just snap them. And you see they snap at different points. And that's where the asparagus become woody. At the market, your asparagus, you could check the freshness. Just look at their ends, and if they're cracked, it will be a sign that they're pretty old. So those ends will go to the garbage or to the compost. So now go through your asparagus, align them, cut the asparagus tips for about 1.5 inches or 5 centimeters, and those stalks, just chop them up, and that will be the base for our soup. Boil some water to blanch the asparagus tips, and that will be used for our garnish. Let's put that over there. Great. I'm going to put a good pinch of salt. We're going to turn on the oven at 350. That will be to bake the almonds, just to toast them a little bit in the oven. And let's start the soup. Melt the butter. Add the onions. And turn down the heat to medium at that point. So give it a stir every couple minutes, every minute. After 2 minutes of cooking the onions, add the chopped stalks and sweat them with the onions for an additional couple minutes. In the meantime, drain the potatoes. After 2 minutes, add the potatoes. Cover with the stock. So you may use chicken or vegetable stock, doesn't matter. It's up to you. Put the heat on high to bring the soup to a boil, and then we will turn down and let it simmer for about 40 minutes. On a cookie sheet or a pizza tray here that I'm using here, place the almonds in one thin layer and bake them at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. That means my oven is ready, for about 5 minutes, maybe a little bit less. It depends on your oven. So keep an eye on them and cook them until they are perfectly golden brown. Our soup is boiling hard, so turn it down to medium and let it simmer for about 40 minutes. In a few minutes we will skim the foam on the top, and meanwhile our water is boiling, so let's blanch the asparagus tips. Let's get a few ice cubes. I put some cold water with the ice also in order to refresh our asparagus tips. So my water is boiling. Drop them in the boiling water for about a minute if they're thin as it is, or if they're thicker, like let's say my finger, if they're really thick, then cook them for 2 minutes. The asparagus are ready, so just pick them up. By refreshing them in an ice bath, that will allow the chlorophyll to stay brightly green. So as soon as the asparagus are cold, just take them out of the water. So first of all, remove the ice cube if they haven't melted and strain. I can smell the almonds roasting, so let's have a look. Oh yeah, perfect. Golden brown. Great. Beautiful. So let them cool, and later on we will transfer them in a small ramekin. To make the spinach mousse, you will need spinach that you have washed thoroughly and cold water. Place the spinach in the blender, maybe half of them to start with. Add the water. And process. Turn off. Add the rest of the spinach. Great. Make sure. Good. So now, what's going to happen in there is that the mousse are going to be separated. As you can see here, after about 2 minutes of resting time, the foam and the water have separated. The top part can be used in order to color food, and the bottom part can also be used in order maybe to extend a liquid if it's too thick, or also to color. But when we talk about spinach mousse, we talk about the top part. The soup is cooking, and we could see a little bit some butter that have separated from the soup. So I'm just going to remove it a little bit. I'm using a ladle. And just a little bit. There we go. And to check if the soup is cooked, we are going to look at a piece of potato that should be soft and a piece of asparagus that should also feel very soft. So the soup is cooked. So now let's process it. Blend the soup in 2 batches, thus your bowl won't be too full. Great. So let's process. On. Always start on low speed, and then you could go to higher speed. Great. Pass the soup through a fine sieve mesh. This will remove the fibers. You can start to see them in the sieve now. They're going to appear in a few seconds. There we go. So those are the fibers from the asparagus. And clean your sieve underneath. Great. Now it's time for us to boil the soup and add the cream. Add the cream to the soup. You may decide to boil the cream separately and add it to the hot soup, or add it into the soup and just whisk in order to bring it back to temperature. As you can see, the cream has whitened the soup, so this is why we are going to use a spinach mousse later on in order to make it green again. at home, if you want to do a light version of that recipe, do not put the cream. Your color will be beautiful and you may not need the spinach mousse. It's time for us to taste and season the soup. Good flavor, nice asparagus taste. It needs a little bit of salt and pepper. Let's test again. Perfect. Very Argenteuil style. Very nice. Good flavor of the asparagus, followed by the cream and the seasoning. Perfect. Let's serve it. Add the spinach mousse to the soup. Look at the color. Already it's better. Great. Now, let's plate a few asparagus tips into the bowl. So I have blanched them a few seconds, just to bring them back to temperature. Ladle the soup in a preheated soup plate or soup bowl. One more. Great. And garnish with one or two. I'm going to go with my finger. Oh, it's hot. Oof. And sprinkle the few almonds over. Great. Maybe one more because it sinks. Cool. Asparagus cream soup or crème argenteuil with grilled almonds.